My coworker Christina typically splits her time between policy advocacy and making kale salads. I can't explain why people in California love kale so much. It's just our thing. Christina's dream is to start a kale cafe, and she'd do it if she could afford tens of thousands of dollars per month to rent a brick and mortar space, not to mention what it costs to build out and certify a commercial kitchen. Christina wants to produce nutritious food and support local farms through local sourcing and create good living wage jobs. The world is so lucky to have people like Christina, but high overhead makes her vision next to impossible. Right now, the insane cost of real estate has put Bay Area food businesses in a tight place. They're pressured to cut corners and make compromises, to buy cheaper, mass-produced ingredients, and to pay workers far less than a living wage. So small farms suffer, small businesses suffer, and workers suffer, and food system workers are already among the lowest paid in the U.S. I wish Christina could just start a small business to make a few dozen salads every day. But she'd have to sell hundreds of kale salads per day to cover her overhead. Is California even ready to eat that much kale? I don't know. What I do know is that we've left food businesses with two choices: go big or go home. Wait, did somebody just say go home? Yes, I said it. Go home. Let's do that. The California legislature is considering a bill to legalize the sale of homemade meals. Genius idea. With some basic health and safety measures in place, this could create tens of thousands of new enterprises, more diverse, creative, and flexible work opportunities, and neighborhood-based food systems that vastly expand options for what we eat. The ripple effects will bring countless benefits. So yes, we should definitely legalize the sale of homemade meals. But here's what we should definitely not do. We should not allow big companies like Uber, Airbnb, TaskRabbit, or Amazon to extract profit as intermediaries of homemade food sales. In other industries, these companies generally take anywhere from 15 to 30% of each transaction. That's a huge bite out of people's take-home pay. If Christina could sell, say, 30 salads per day to her neighbors and bring in about $300 per day, her own expenses might already take a third of that. If some food Uber company takes another third, then Christina would lose what could otherwise have been a living wage. California, we have a choice. We could pass a law that creates tens of thousands of good living wage jobs, or we could set into motion a pattern that we've seen throughout the gig economy. The more companies take, the larger those companies grow, and wealthier their shareholders become. Meanwhile, workers become dependent on single platforms and get squeezed, pressured to cut costs, cut corners, and work long hours to produce more and more and more. Chefs will be pressured to buy cheaper, mass-produced, low-quality, or expired ingredients. This pattern compromises worker well-being and public health. So tell the California legislature, Assembly Bill 626 should not allow for-profit intermediaries to take a piece of the homemade pie. But nonprofits, cooperatives, and governmental agencies should be allowed to serve as intermediaries. This principle already applies to certified farmers markets in California. It's not about legalizing an Uber for food and making rich companies richer. It's about expanding our food options, bringing producers and consumers closer together, and supporting livelihoods throughout the food system.